The marketplace was loud, bright, and overcrowded, filled with strange lights and alien voices echoing through the metal streets. It was the kind of place where everyone was busy, everyone was in a hurry, and nobody cared about anyone else. Except tonight. Something felt wrong. A lonely human man named Evan walked through the stalls with tired steps. His clothes were old, his backpack worn, and his face carried the sadness of someone who had lost far too much in life. He wasn't here to buy anything. He was just passing by, looking for a quiet place to think. But fate had other plans. As he moved past a dark corner of the market, something small grabbed the bottom of his jacket. He looked down. A young alien girl, thin, frightened, and dusty, stared up at him with glowing teal eyes. She was no more than 7 years old. In her trembling arms, she held a tiny alien baby wrapped in a rough cloth. Before Evan could speak, the girl whispered words that froze him. "Can you buy us, human?" His heart dropped. "Buy us?" He knelt slowly, making sure not to scare her. "What did you say?" The girl swallowed hard, eyes full of fear. "Can you buy us, please?" The baby in her arms whimpered. Evan looked around. No one was watching. No adults nearby. Just shadows and noise. He spoke softly. "Where are your parents?" She shook her head. "Gone, taken. We were left here." The baby cried again, weakly. Evan felt a cold anger rise inside him, not at the children, but at the world that allowed this. The girl continued, voice breaking. "We were told someone will take us only if they pay. If we are useful. If we can work." She looked at her baby sibling. "But we are small. Nobody wants us." Evan felt his chest tighten painfully. The girl stepped closer, voice barely a whisper. "Human. Please. We don't want to go to the cages." Cages, he understood now. They weren't being sold. They were being thrown away. He asked gently, "Who told you that?" The girl pointed to a group of alien brokers across the market, tall figures with metal collars and cold eyes. They were watching everyone, searching for children alone. Evan clenched his jaw. He had seen slavers before on outer worlds. Heartless creatures who treated living beings like items on a shelf. He looked back at the girl. "What's your name?" "Leary," she whispered. "And this is my baby sister, Nala." Evan touched the baby's head gently. She was burning with fever. He stood up quickly. "Come with me." Leary panicked. But you have to pay. They will come after us. They said we belong to them until someone buys us." Evan looked down at her with the calmest, strongest voice she had ever heard. "You don't belong to anyone." Leary shook her head, terrified. "If we leave, they will hurt us." Evan pulled off his old jacket and wrapped it around both siblings, carefully. "I won't let them." Before Leary could speak again, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed behind them. Slavers. 3 tall figures emerged from the shadows, blocking the exit. Their eyes glowed red, and metal implants hummed on their arms. One of them snarled, "Human, those are our property." Evan stepped in front of the children. "No," he said quietly. "They're kids." The slavers stepped closer. "Everything has a price. Pay." Evan raised a hand and the slaver paused. Evan pulled out his ID card and held it up. It wasn't a weapon. It was something the entire galaxy respected. A veteran human explorer, badged. The slavers froze. Everyone knew the stories, what humans had done in the frontier wars. How fiercely they protected children. How dangerous they could be when angered. Evan's voice turned cold. "You want me to pay?" "Fine, I'll pay." The slaver smirked. Evan leaned forward. "Here's the price, their freedom." Something shifted in the air. Humans were famous for 2 things: saving children and not backing down. The slavers hesitated. They had heard too many stories about human soldiers. Stories of impossible courage. and impossible retaliation. You don't want trouble with humanity, Evan said quietly. Trust me. The slavers whispered among themselves. Then, slowly, they stepped back and disappeared into the crowd. Leary stared at Evan in shock. You scared them. Evan looked down at her with a soft smile. I just told the truth. She bit her lip. So, we're free? Evan took a deep breath. You're coming with me. Both of you. Leary blinked fast, tears forming. But why? You don't know us. You don't have to help. Evan knelt again, looking her in the eyes with steady warmth. Because no child should beg to be bought. He touched the baby's tiny hand. And no baby should grow up in fear. Leary trembled, but humans don't usually help our kind. Evan shook his head. Humanity helps anyone who needs it. The baby cooed softly, like she understood. Evan stood and gently lifted the baby into his arms while Leary held his sleeve tightly. Come on, he said. Let's get your sister to a doctor. And after that, we find you a real home, Leary whispered. Together? Evan nodded. Together. For the first time in years, Leary's face softened into a tiny, hopeful smile. As they walked away from the marketplace, the neon lights reflecting on their path, Leary whispered, Evan, are you buying us? He shook his head gently. No, Leary, I'm saving you. Her voice trembled. Then, what are we to you? Evan stopped walking. He looked at the girl, then at the baby in his arms, and answered with a soft, emotional voice, Your family now. The marketplace around them faded into the background. The fear faded with it. And the universe, once cruel, felt warm again. Leary took Evan's hand, small, shaking, but full of trust. Family. She whispered, like she was tasting the word for the first time, and together they walked toward a future none of them expected. A human, an alien girl, and a baby who finally found someone who cared. The small medical shelter smelled like warm herbs and glowing blue medicine. Evan sat near the metal bed where baby Nala slept under a soft healing light. Her fever had dropped, and her breathing was gentler now. Leary sat beside her sister, never letting go of the baby's hand. She kept looking at Evan every few seconds, like she was checking if he would disappear. Evan finally spoke softly. She will be okay. The doctor said she just needs rest. Leary nodded, shoulders relaxing for the first time. Then she whispered, Thank you for saving us. Evan shook his head. You don't need to thank me. But Leary insisted, gripping her hands tightly. We had nobody. We were waiting for someone to help us. I thought nobody ever would. Evan didn't reply. He understood that kind of pain far too well. Loneliness was something he carried like an old scar. After a long silence, Leary asked, What happens now? Evan took a deep breath. Now? We get you two somewhere safe. Somewhere stable. Somewhere warm. Her eyes widened. A real home? If you want. Leary looked down at her dirty clothes, her trembling hands. But we are nothing, Evan. Nobody wants us. Evan leaned forward. I want you. The girl's breath hitched. She looked away quickly, hiding the tears in her eyes. Before she could speak again, the doctor entered with a data pad. Good news. The baby is responding perfectly. But, he looked at Evan seriously. They can't stay here long. The slavers reported missing property. They are searching. Evan's eyes hardened immediately. Leary froze. They are coming back? Yes, the doctor said quietly. They won't forget 2 kids escaping. Evan stood. Then we leave now. He grabbed his backpack, wrapped Nayla carefully, and guided Leary toward the back exit of the shelter. Outside, the night sky was lit with purple clouds and bright neon signs. The city had a cold heartbeat, fast, sharp, dangerous. Every shadow felt like someone watching. Leary whispered. Evan. I'm scared. Evan placed a hand on her shoulder. You're safe with me. I promise. They walked quickly through narrow alleys until they reached an old transport shuttle. It wasn't pretty rusty, patched with metal plates, but it was strong. Evan lifted the baby inside, then helped Leary climb in. This is yours? She asked. It's home for now, he replied. The shuttle hummed to life. The engines glowed faint blue, warming the cold night dot as they flew above the metal city. Leary pressed her face to the window, watching the lights below. She had never flown before, not like this. Evan flew steady, careful, listening to the sounds of the engines. He kept checking the scanner screen. No slaver ships in sight. After a few minutes, the girl asked softly, Why? Why do you help us so much? Evan didn't speak at first. Then he answered, Because I lost my own family a long time ago. I know what it feels like to be left alone. Leary's eyes softened. I'm sorry. He glanced at her gently. You don't have to be. But you and Nala. You deserve someone who doesn't walk away. The shuttle descended toward a quieter part of the city, near an abandoned human outpost. The lights were dim, but the air felt peaceful. Evan landed the shuttle. He turned to the siblings, smiling softly. Welcome home for now. Leary held baby Nala close, her expression full of wonder. This is home? Evan nodded. Until we build something better. The girl slowly reached out her hand, touching Evan's sleeve again, just like when they first met. Evan, can we stay with you? He looked into her hopeful eyes. Yes, he said. As long as you want. Leary hugged him tightly, small arms, shaking breath, warm tears. For the first time, Evan hugged her back fully. They were not strangers anymore. They were becoming something new, a human. Two alien children. A family built from broken pieces, finally finding each other in a cold universe.